In this video, we're going to show you the daily grooming needs of any dog that is non-shedding, hypoallergenic, the kind that you have to get groomed. This happens to be a Schnauzer puppy, but what I am going to share in this video applies to any dog that needs regular grooming. I've heard, oh, look at how happy she is to be having this done.
She loves this.
She loves this. Look at that. I have heard from more than one groomer that they really wish breeders would teach new parents, puppy parents, this when they get their puppy. And when I just said that, Brianna said yes.
Yes.
Yes. Very good. What, sweeties?
Hello, I'm Sean Kent Hayashi with Saucon Valley Cute and Cuddly Schnauzers. And this adorable little chocolate Schnauzer is Mocha. Mocha is currently groomed in the traditional Schnauzer cut. However, he has a very long coat. And also, people will get my dogs and want them in a teddy bear
This
cut.
is one example of a teddy bear. Here's another photo of one of my dogs in a teddy bear cut. The longer the teddy bear length, the more combing and brushing that will be needed on a daily basis. We start daily brushing with our little puppies at about 3 weeks old so that they are very acclimated to the feeling of both a comb and a brush on their bodies.
So I want to point out what it takes to maintain a coat like this on either a traditional Schnauzer, where you want the coat long, or on a teddy bear, where you want the coat long. There are two tools that you're going to need to use every day: a brush and a comb, both every day. The brush, in this particular case, this brush has a gentler side, if you will, and then a firmer side. And comb. Every dog that leaves my house, in other words, every time I have a puppy go away for gotcha day, that puppy goes with a
You can
comb.
find these products and all the products that I use for grooming on my website at SVCCtoys.com. Click the shop button and you'll see all my favorite products.
If you're going to do one or the other, if you're only going to do one, use the comb. So let me explain why this is so important. Oftentimes people will take a brush like this and they'll run it through and they'll say, okay, he's brushed. But the problem is they haven't actually gotten down to the skin on him. They've just brushed the surface outer layer of the coat, but he's got a really thick coat. So you have to actually go in and get it right against the skin. So this is why using a comb can be really important. Do you see? We thought just from the brush that we had gotten it, but we actually hadn't gotten it all. And most dogs will, if not combed or brushed daily and they have a coat like this, they're going to get mats underneath their armpits. And so you really have to take that comb in there very well and get right up against the skin. We're not hurting him when we put the comb against the skin, but we've got to get all the way in there. So see how when we first took the brush through, we thought we'd gotten in, but we hadn't. Then you also have to do the inside of the leg. So again, sometimes I know kids who say, oh yeah, I brushed the dog. Yes, I brushed the dog there. He's brushed. Nope, that's not it. It takes longer than that. You've got to actually go inside the leg. You've got to really, see how with the comb I'm having to work harder to get it through the coat? That's because the brush may at times only get that surface layer of the coat. Now, what you need to know is that Mocha was brushed like this, brushed and combed yesterday. So what I'm pulling out, these dogs don't shed. in essence, you have to comb them so that the hair comes out. And it's this hair that's coming out right here that would cause a mat if it wasn't being pulled out. That would get all matted together. So the feet here, the backs of the feet, the inside of the leg, all of this has to be combed very well. There are some people who will take a dog to a groomer, and the groomer will feel inside the dog, close to the skin, and the groomer will say, "Are you aware that your dog is matted?" And they'll say, "Oh no, my dog's not matted. I brush it every day. I brush my dog every day. That dog's not matted." But when you take the comb right against the skin, like I'm doing right now, I'm having to actually pull. Can you see that? Hopefully you can actually see it in the video. I'm having to work a little harder to get that comb through the coat. This is what needs to be done every day. And starting with a brush can help with that. But we need to get into these areas where dogs are often matted. So you do the first run perhaps with the brush, and then you do the second run, the pins of the comb, where they're further apart and then where they're closer together. You want to get to the point where you can use the ones that are closer together and go through the whole coat. So right back here, he was starting to form a little mat back there. And if I didn't run this comb through his coat multiple times, it probably would have gotten matted. All right, so let me show you the other side. By the way, this is taking far longer than it normally takes me to do this. Rather than using the brush on this side, I'm going to use the comb on this side just to show you. You see how that's pulling right there? See how that's pulling? That is a mat waiting to happen if he's not combed every day. Now let me show you what happens if I do the brush. I can brush the brush right through that and it doesn't look like there's an issue. So again, if somebody's just doing the 2-minute or the 1-minute version of this, they may not realize they did not actually accomplish what they had set out to accomplish. So there we go. There we go right there. My comb is stuck in his coat. The brush would run right through his coat though. But the comb is telling me that I need to work on this area a little bit more. Lifting up his head, getting into his chest. So oftentimes I'll find on a dog where somebody's told me that it's been brushed, they just did the outer layer here. But there's actually a whole inner piece here that's also got to be done. And that, see when I try to pull the comb through? One of my dogs went to a home with a group of young people who promised they were going to comb the dog every day. And I honestly do believe that they brushed. I believe that they used their brush every day. But when that dog goes to the groomer, Anne ends out having to shave the dog down because there are mats up against the skin. This, look at you, silly. This is the remedy for that. The same is true in the muzzle. You've got to go right up against the skin. Do you see how my comb is now stuck in here? My comb is stuck in there. So I may need to take my brush first, brush through it a little bit, break it up a little bit. Yeah, I love you. I love you. And I usually use this time as just wonderful cuddle, hug time with my babies. Hug time. Yes, I love you. And then come back with the comb. And you may have to work some more. So see how I've now gotten that out? So now the comb is running through his beard easily, where the brush, you would have thought that it was done. There we go. Now we've got it. And that was the fine end of the comb. And you can see what it took out of him. Yeah, Excellent. Excellent. I want to make sure that people understand if you want a dog that looks like this, there is some care that has to be done daily to accomplish this kind of coat. Now, if you say, hey, I don't want that long of a coat, I want a really short coat like honey bears, well, then you don't have to do this every day. You will need to do it, but if you do it every other day or every couple of days, just a nice comb through would be great. But you can see now how I can comb through this coat very easily because of the work I've done on him today. But again, getting in there like this, getting in the inside of the leg and combing all that out. Yes. See, that's a daily chore. Oh, I love you. Miss Burberry is up next for her brush and comb out. And Brianna spent a year working in a grooming salon before she came to work here. I'll bet you saw a lot of dogs that had to be shaved down because they had mats, right?
Oh yeah, people think they're brushing the dog. They don't.
Yeah. So this is why we're taking the time right now to show you. Brianna's going to show you her techniques for how to approach this so that we get any little knots or mats out every day. Notice how she's using both of her hands. So one hand is holding
Kind of just hold the hip.
Burberry's hip to get right in there. Pull it out. And in those places where skin rubs up against, so in this area in here, and then under the elbows in here, these are areas that really need extra focus when we are brushing and combing our dog. My dogs are so used to having this done because it's literally been done every day. You can get your dog very acclimated, accustomed to having this done such that they start to enjoy the time. They enjoy the cuddle time with you. Now you might wonder, why is my camera bouncing so much? It's because I have Honey Bear in my arms at the moment, and I wanted to show you, we've put Honey Bear into a Teddybear haircut. Isn't that adorable? Now that takes a lot less time, but you still need to brush it and comb it every day, but it takes a lot less time than what we have to do with Mocha and Burberry. Isn't she a cutie pie? The feet can also get mats in them. And so this is part of the reason why we keep the hair between the paw pads trimmed out very well. It would be very painful for a dog to have a mat in that area. And I think one of the things that pet owners don't realize is that when you take a matted dog into a groomer, it is so much more work for the groomer. It may take double or triple the amount of time, and there may be additional charges associated with having to demat a dog. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people, not necessarily people who had my dogs, but just dogs in general, and they said, I can't believe the groomer shaved my dog down. Why did the groomer do that? Or I'm never taking my dog back to that groomer again. And I assure you, groomers do not want to shave your dog down. Now here's an example. She gets combed and brushed every day. But here she's got a little knot. And in this case, we're going to show you what to do. There are several options. One way to get rid of a little knot is to use a product like this. It's a detangler. You rub it into the coat.
Just get this out.
You can see you have to tease it apart, tease it apart, tease it apart kind of thing over and over in order to get to the piece that's causing the knot.
Yes, I know, Burberry.
So this dog, Burberry, was combed and brushed very well yesterday. And yet, this still happens.
There we go.
I usually recommend that if you have to use scissors on a mat, slice, in essence, up the mat, not across.
Yeah. Typically you want to do that.
If you slice across,
You could get the skin.
parallel with the skin, yep, and then also you're going to see a big hole in the dog's coat. Whereas if you go this way,
Yeah.
if you took the scissors this way, you're not going to potentially see that big, huge hole. You can still probably tease out the mat. But making sure your dog doesn't get mats in the first place is really the best solution.
There we go.
Nicely done. I own 5 dogs that are, I call them permanent residents here. And we allocate an hour a day to combing and grooming those 5 dogs. Obviously, you watching might not ever want to own 5 dogs. You might only want to own 1, or maybe you want 2. But if you've gotten a dog that needs to be groomed, if you have a dog that has a coat that grows, in other words, if you have a dog that doesn't shed, if you have a dog that is hypoallergenic, you're going to need to do this, plan for this, make the time for this every day.
I know, Burberry. Yes.
It can become a really wonderful, fun part of your day. Some people, I know for myself, before I had a groomer coming in every day, I would have a comb near on my sofa in the sofa table, and I would just comb them every night. I still do this sometimes, just because they like the feel of it. Next, we're showing what it looks like to trim out the pads of the feet. Showing you what this looks like to do this in a safe way, so that you make sure you don't get little mats or pebbles or debris between the pads of your dog. And this is something that you can learn how to do very easily for your dog yourself. If your dog goes in to be groomed maybe your dog goes in to be groomed every 6 weeks or so, you could do this in the interim at the halfway mark. Notice how Brianna is holding Burberry's leg. You never want to lift a dog's legs sideways, sort of up.
Like that.
Yeah, you never want to do that.
If it's uncomfortable for
Or
them,
higher.
they're not going to cooperate.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to do that higher and really risk pulling the dog's shoulder or elbow out of whack. And see how she's taking that comb right up against the skin and really getting in there? So notice how she's running the comb all the way down the length of the coat. You need to do that, because if you pick the comb up halfway through, you may end out creating a problem with the comb tangling the hair itself. There we go. And then, of course, the beard. Every day, the little mustache, the beard. Even if you keep the beard short. So in this case, Burberry has a beard that's on the little bit longer side. I tend to like them a little shorter myself, but some people like them longer. And so it's just making sure that comb gets right in against the skin all the way up and down that mustache.
And then I also tend to do the eyebrows and up underneath the neck, underneath the chest, every day. And then if you pick up her front legs, yep, getting those eyebrows really well done. Pick up the front legs, there you go. And now you can get underneath in that chest area, going right up against the skin. This is one of those areas that people often overlook. And then when you reach in and you feel underneath the belly, you find knots or mats. So just having the comb run through exactly like you're seeing the comb run through right now, so important. Great. Well done. Burberry gets a little treat now. Next up, we want to show you Honey Bear. Again, Honey Bear is groomed in a little teddy bear cut. I did this myself, and I did it with a guard comb. Her hair is not very long, and it's certainly not long enough to get terribly matted, so it's much faster to groom this. So if you like this style, you can see how the comb just flows right through it. No problems. But still, we get that comb right up against the skin every day. Yeah.
Yes, Honey Bear.
Cute little girl, Honey Bear. Now, Brianna, again, being a professional groomer, may see some opportunities to do some scissor work to improve what I did. Feel free, Brianna, whenever you want to do scissor work after I've done some clipper work to clean up my lines. Always happy to have that done. But you get the idea here that this is just daily maintenance, brushing and combing your puppy. Any type of puppy, by the way, that needs to be regularly groomed. There are some short hair breeds that they still need a bath. They still need to be brushed occasionally, but certainly not as much as those that have hair that grows. So those that have hair that grows, this is their daily routine. Great job. This is my YouTube channel, SVCC Toy Schnauzers. I have a playlist specifically on grooming. Here's what that playlist thumbnail looks like. So, grooming Schnauzers. There's 31 videos in this playlist, and you can view the full playlist here. When you click view full playlist, this is what it looks like. And then you are able to scroll to find videos that would fit your needs related to grooming your non-shedding, hypoallergenic puppies and dogs. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so. Hit that subscribe button below. A thumbs up and a comment with 5 or more words would also be greatly appreciated. Thank you.